Into these matters, because the Honorable Nyindam, the member for Mandai, made the point that the power of members to exercise their oversight is being taken away because committees have not been constituted. But that can, we will submit them to the clerk to assess. Yes, almost set. It is midday. The committee of selection would meet by tomorrow. Speaker is the chair. We'll meet by tomorrow or Monday. My brother realizes that I'm not here, that it shouldn't be so. Speaking. So work. Last Parliament. Thank you for the opportunity. Yes.
Speaker.
Well, honorable members, honorable minority whip, with all due respect, you have raised the issue. It's been deliberated upon. And we've been given some assurance that the report will be laid on Tuesday and really be laid on Tuesday and taken the same day. So,
just to add that my colleague said we have 18 questions before the House, and this House is a House of record. That is not a fact. We don't have questions admitted yet. He may be referring to a consideration we had at the business committee. But that report is not appropriate. That's what he said. That's what he actually said.
Speaker, with your leave.
Honourable members,
yes.
Honourable Majority Whip, yes. With all due respect, I don't want us to belabor this point. You have given us the assurance that you belabor it.
Speaker, I'm not belaboring the point. Just because I said slated.
On the issue of the energy.
Slated for next week.
On the issue of the energy minister, I would direct the clerk to reprogram the energy minister for next week at 11. Honourable members, I'm talking about next week in the sense that after tomorrow, the next available date will be next week. This is a man who wrote to Parliament that he's attending a cabinet meeting. Would you give the benefit of the doubt? Let's give the benefit of the doubt so that we program him for very much, honourable members.
Just to put matters in proper perspective and without litigating same, the minister wrote to us that because of cabinet commitment, we can't be sure. So I agree with you. But Mr. Speaker, just for the records, that in going, he only left a message with the Deputy Majority Whip morning. So I just want clarity.
That he will be here to answer questions. He was actually here, but we delay in sitting, and he had to go for cabinet meeting. And as a result, I am directing that he be programmed to appear.
You said he's written a letter. That's why I wanted you in the circumstance, because this is a house of record. This is a house of record, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, indeed.
This matter has been decided, based on which I have even directed that the minister be programmed to appear next week, Tuesday. So I think that puts the matter to rest.
Mr. Speaker, it does not. He's urging that it be brought tomorrow, Friday. And I want to give information. When the minister
Honourable Majority Chief Whip, I have given direction that he be programmed to appear before the House next week. So my direction is next week, Tuesday.
Mr. Speaker, but let me give information, because I attempted to read the minority leader for us to have an agreement even before coming to you. But he couldn't answer the call. That's all that I wanted to provide.
Very well.
When the minister came,
yes,
and was about to leave for cabinet, I actually reached out so I could have an understanding with him. No, to you, on your phone.
Please address the chair.
Mr. Speaker, I called him 10, agree with you as to when he should return next week. So he was here. So I agree that you've already given direction. But just to indicate that I attempted to reach him, to let him know that this was the circumstances that the minister found himself and that he will not be able to address the House as scheduled. Thank you very much.
Yes. Honorable members, we have statement on social justice, and 3 members have written statements together. One is in the name of Honorable Phyllis Na Koyo Okuno, Member of Parliament, Ewutu Senya East Constituency. Statement by Social Justice, statement in the name of Joaben. Honorable members, we may be taking these 3 statements together. In the meantime, escalating situation of cholera in his constituency, and he will want to.
Thank you for the opportunity to bring this matter again to the national space. Mr. Speaker, I was involved in a number of public education programs, and the situation at the treatment center is not good at all, to put it in simple language. The water is not flowing in the whole hospital. The doctors and nurses complain of shortage of water. So far, although the Minister of Health has visited the Winneba Health Directorate way of logistical support. Mr. Speaker, yesterday I had to buy additional 100 mattresses for them, and I have released another 100,000 Ghana cedis. Mr. Speaker, the situation is really getting out of hand. Yes, I've released 100,000 Ghana cedis last week for them, and Mr. Speaker, again, another 100,000 Ghana cedis have it. Although a health minister was there, the regional directorate is yet to provide. People come from all over so it shouldn't be seen as a winnable problem. Until recently, cholera was elsewhere, and now it's in Winneba. And I am using this platform to again appeal to government. Stress, they need medication, they need vaccination, they are exposed. In fact, the male ward of the Winneba Government Hospital has been converted into a cholera treatment center. They've also set up a tent outside to receive new cases. Children, the aged, uploaded some of the pictures to support the aid of the health facilities in Winneba. It's all they need. The pharmaceuticals is a humble appeal to them to support those in need. Because, Mr. Speaker, like I said, there are traders from Swedru who come to Winneba. Winneba has two bringing their catch. The landing beach is yet to be commissioned, so the fish is still exposed. And the very people, so those in Kaswa, those in Mankesim, if care is not taken, Mr. Speaker, we will be telling another story to intervene. And I'm appealing to colleague members of Parliament, the members who are here. This is not Efutu's problem. It is our problem. When I hear of challenges in your backyard, you know how I'm calling on colleagues, do your own small contribution and support Efutu situation in his constituency. I gave 50,000. It's a matter of public record. He announced it in this chamber to Honorable Ablakwa for his constituency. Naked. Charity in times like this is very important. So, honorable majority members, this side we are in opposition. You are in government. You should, as often, mankade or ye futufo wanasam onye edinafo onye jumakofo onye igwefo one problem. Oka nhina enyo prunsu. Oka nhina enyo obokwe kodo akachi south. Mr. Speaker, in other words, I'm saying that
Honorable Minority Leader, don't invite me to the debate.
not at all. Mr. Speaker, it's an island. You know, when rain falls, it falls on every roof. So, Mr. Speaker, it is Efutu. But the nature of the situation is such that so we have to contain it. And I'm hereby launching a special appeal for my friends to contribute handsomely. They go back or she may go back and there may be a problem. So if we contain it and the traders from Akachi who come to Efutu to trade get into trouble and they are contained, there wouldn't be any spread. So I'm calling not only the central region brothers and sisters here, but the entire house. Please come to my aid and come handsomely. We need money to support them. Those who go through the challenge when they are discharged, even food to eat is a problem. So if you have rice, you have sugar, you have milk, anything, please donate. Mosquito nets, donate them. The liquid soap, we need support for our vulnerable compatriots at the Inshona. Please come to the aid of Efutu and please come to their fully applied.
Members, is just bringing the information to our notice. I intend not to open the floor for comment. Honourable members, Aminta Akando was in the House on cholera and meningitis. The House has taken note of his briefing. If in between the situation is escalating in a particular constituency, what we need to do is to personally reach out to him and bring to his notice, is our colleague, personally reach out to him so that the situation can be addressed. And in view of the fact that when he was here to brief the House issue, today I intend not to open the floor for comment. However, there is a special appeal to members of Parliament. Let's take note of the appeal and support trader from your constituency with the disease. So the earlier, honourable members, I thank you very much for your indulgence. And honourable members, let's move this.
Mr. Speaker, I think you've almost taken the sail out of our honourable brother saying. The minister was here on Tuesday, as you have rightly said. And from all indication, the Ministry of Health is on the ground. There are structures that some of these things can actually be passed through. The appeal the honourable leader is to do, but yet, in many places, as it is in Efutu, in Cape Coast, people are supporting these things. So I think his appeal is fair, but I don't think we'll have to give any indication that the government is not on top of this. And I can tell you, on authorities in the central region, that the situation is under control. Structures are there, and they are in Winneba as well. Cholera, is something that is fluid. The minister was here on Tuesday. Yes, things probably have changed, a bit. Yeah, I mean, this is what I mean, I can tell you that in Cape Coast, they've been given tests. So I don't know why things. That's what I'm saying. We're talking about central region here, and we are under one directorate. So I don't know how Cape Coast can get things and Winneba wouldn't get them under the same health directorate. So I'm just want to appeal to my brother that we should use the structures that the minister came here to eloquently, tell us on what they are doing. The ministry, the government is on the ground. The minister is on the ground. Structures are in place to deal with these things from the private sector or from others who can support, because this affects all of us. And as he rightly said, it could be, place A today, it can be in place B tomorrow. So we all need to hear with the impression that the government is not on the ground and that the minister is not in control. The minister is in absolute control with structures in place to deal with this. If there are some challenges or things that has probably happened between the time he came here to speak and now, I think we need to communicate to the appropriate, channels to deal with it as they already are doing that.
Honourable members, we have students from some educational institutions visiting the House. They are from the following institutions: National College of Commandant and Brigadier General Fred Ntri, Deputy Commander, Professor John. We also have here with us of the school, National College of Defense. There are 44 students from Nsawara Ejumafo Senior High School, led by Mr. Prince Matthias, leader. They are from Akotombra. They are 90 in number. And Holy Trinity, they are from Kwadaso. They are 50 in number. Honorable members, on behalf of the House and on my own behalf, I wish our students a fruitful visit to the House. Honorable Francis Kobana Brimpong Owusu Achao, Member of Parliament for Joaben. You have the floor.
Speaker, if you may,
in honor of Phyllis Na Koyo Okuno. Is the honorable member present in the House? If you are, you have the floor.
Mr. Speaker. I'm honored to Speaker. I thank you for the opportunity to rise and make the statements on the floor of this August House in commemoration of the World Day for Social Justice, a day set aside by the United Nations for nations to reflect on the fundamental principles of fairness. Equity is at the heart of every serious and thriving democracy for the pursuit of national and inclusive development for all. In 2027, the UN established the World Day for Social Justice and first observed the day in 2009 to promote social. Since then, The term social is about social justices and sustainable development. Mr. Speaker, this year's celebration is on the theme, Empowering Inclusion, Bridging Gaps for Social Justice. The theme calls for the need to urgently implement inclusive policies and social protection systems to address various forms of inequality, and more especially Ghana, as deeply rooted in history and dates back in the Berlin Conference of 1884, calls to indigenous populations. Subsequently, centuries of oppressions, systematic economic and social injustice that continues to affect the progress of the continent today. However, Mr. Speaker, the tide began to turn when the dawn of independence movements across African countries to achieve a significant step towards a more just and equitable society. Since then, Ghana has made notable progress in areas such as education, the free political participation and economic empowerment, and yet the fight for true social justice remains unfinished as many inequalities persist in our society. Mr. Speaker, strides have been made, and yet Ghana continues to grapple with serious social justice issues, which call for urgent attention and sustained actions to curb rising inequalities and inequities as a result of our difficult economic conditions. Mr. Speaker, permit me to highlight some current issues in the area of social justice. Democracy and human rights violations. And my illegal arrests have raised concerns about the shrinking civic space and respect for fundamental freedoms. The rights be upheld at all times. The tragic death of 8 Guineans and shooting at me in the 2020 elections due to election-related violence remains unresolved. Furthermore, similar concerns have arisen in the 2024 elections, where lives again were lost, especially in victims and their families. Now, with the rising economic hardship and inequalities, the economic into extreme poverty, according to the World Bank report in 2023, the Domestic Debt Exchange Program, DDEP, resulted in severe financial losses, popularly known as the haircuts, for domestic bondholders for their livelihood. Unemployment and job scarcity continue to threaten the economic security of millions, particularly the youth. Many highly educated graduates struggle to find decent jobs, contributing to rising frustration and social unrest. This phenomenon, Mr. Speaker, is civil society and government. Now, the lack of access to essential service is also a major issue. Due to skyrocketing rent prices, access to quality health care, education, and social welfare is still a major challenge, with inequalities. Mr. Speaker, this precedent, bold people-centered policies and promoting fairness in society. Permit me to highlight some of the key interventions the current regime is committing. Mr. Speaker, the 24-hour economy policy is a mega transformative policy for the new administration, the office of the president, and it is aimed at throughout the day and night, ensuring expanded employment opportunities for all. The your sector have financial security upon reaching the age of 60. This will safeguard the future of millions of Ghanaian ministry responsible for this policy to make swiftly and set in motion to secure future the social designed to eliminate financial barriers for first-year tertiary students will ensure higher education is made more accessible to all, irrespective of would feature in the 2020 on the issue of social justice to General of Police to commence investigations, those responsible, and closure. Let us reaffirm our collective responsibility to build the Ghana that is fair, just, and inclusive. A Ghana where no one is left behind affiliation or location. Social justice is not merely an abstract concept, it's a people. We must ensure that our policies, laws, and governance structure reflect our commitment to fairness, equity, and human dignity. Let us work collectively for granting the good people of Ewutu Senya East this great opportunity for their voices to be heard on this important day of commemorating the well.
Honourable members, I shall proceed to give the floor to Honourable Alassane Kobina Gansa.
Observed annually on February 20th. The date was established by the United Nations General Assembly in 2007 and first celebrated addressing issues such as poverty, exclusion, unemployment, gender inequality, and human rights violations, including peace and inclusion, bridging policies and social protections. The nation's commitment to social justice is evident, which aims to ensure basic social guarantees for all individuals. Mr. Speaker, the importance of social justice has been underscored by various international frameworks adopted in 2008. The observance also aligns with several sustainable development goals, particularly Goal 1, which involves eradicating poverty in all its forms and empowering all women and girls in society. Goal 8, which encompasses promoting inclusive and sustainable economic growth. And Goal 10, which emphasizes reducing inequalities within and among countries. Mr. Speaker, this is reflected in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, Equality, and Fairness for All. Mr. Speaker, Ghana, as an active member of the United Nations, embraces this day to reinforce its commitment to social justice within the context of its socio-economic challenges and development aspirations. Social justice in Ghana has made considerable strides in its commitment. Mr. Speaker, Ghana faces significant challenges in achieving full social justice for all of its citizens. Youth unemployment and access to education. Rural communities often experience limited access to essential services such as healthcare, educational policies, and programs aimed at improving the welfare of its citizens. These include the National Social Protection Policy, which aims to reduce poverty and inequality through various safety nets, such as the Livelihood Empowerment Against Illiteracy. Thus, some organizations in Ghana, such as the CHRAJ, the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice, National Commission for Civic Education, Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection, Ghana Integrity Initiative, Center for Democratic Development, ISODEC, Integrated Social Development Center, Ghana Trades Union Congress, are supporting the agenda to achieve these successes. Collaboration with the United Nations and other international organizations highlights its commitment to achieving the Sustainable Development Goals. Policymakers and global stakeholders that the fight for social justice is an ongoing process that requires collective action. Mr. Speaker, there are some other challenges in addressing some of these social justices, and the government, civil society, and individuals must work together to promote social justice and human rights for all. However, this requires a multifaceted approach, advancing human rights and the rule of law, empowering marginalized and vulnerable populations in society. Mr. Speaker, there's a challenge in Ghana and some parts of the world. The country continues to grapple with issues such as poverty, inequality, women, children, and persons with disabilities. The recent plan by President Donald Trump of the United States of America to take over the Palestinian settlements in the Gaza Strip is unfortunately a clear indication of the non-existence of social justice. And Mr. Speaker, I call on the United Nations positively declared that development is the new name for peace, emphasizing that excessive economic peace. World Day of Social Justice 2025 represents a crucial opportunity for nations like Ghana to reaffirm their commitment to social equity by focusing on inclusion and bridging gaps in society.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Honorable members, is Honorable Francis Kobana Brempong also Achao now in the House?
Mr. Speaker, if it pleases you, Honorable Akwa would do so on his behalf, and some emergencies have kept him outside of the chamber.
Very well, very well. Today is a World Social Justice Day, so I'll permit that.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity to read this statement on behalf of my colleague who is not available. To stand before you today on the occasion of World Social Justice Day, a day that reminds us of our duty to build a fair and just society where all citizens have equal opportunities, irrespective of their background. Social justice is the foundation of national development. Gender, ethnicity, social economic status, or physical ability can enjoy the words spoken on the floor of this House by former President, His Excellency John Ejekum Kufuor, during his first State of the Nation address to Parliament. To revive the economy, to have any chance of success, education holds the key. Equal access to educational opportunities is, in the long run, the principal instrument for achieving social justice. The present imbalance in volume and quality of the educational facilities available to urban as against the rural population is creating the social divide which our government would act decisively in reverse, end quote. Mr. Speaker, these words were true 24 years ago, and they are even more relevant today. Mr. Speaker, it is without doubt that education remains a powerful tool for promoting social justice, and our Constitution guarantees the rights under Article 25(1) of the 1990 case of Federation of Youth Association of Ghana versus Public Universities of Ghana and others. Education. The ruling reinforced that public education must be accessible to all, regardless of their social status. Mr. Speaker, beyond education, the Constitution of Ghana is also clear. One of the 1992 Constitution provides that the fundamental human rights and freedoms enshrined in Chapter 5. Yes.
Honourable member, continue. Honourable member, continue. He can sit by him. Let him continue.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I crave your indulgence. Once the maker of the statement is in, I seek your leave to let him continue.
Leave hereby granted.
Mr. Speaker, beyond education commitment, and its commitment to social justice, Article 12(1) of 1992 Constitution provides that the fundamental human rights and freedoms enshrined in Chapter 5, legislature, judiciary, and all other organs of government and its agencies, and that instructs origin, political opinion, vital to the fundamental human respect for the right and fairly the right to work under satisfactory, safe, and healthy conditions, while directing that state to take measures to ensure an economic system that provides equal opportunity is a cornerstone for social justice. 296 guarantee no one is deprived of justice due to their economic or social status and due process, reminding us that justice must not only be done, but social justice reforms that uphold these constitutional principles. We must strengthen equality before the law in all state actions, promote inclusive economic growth, and ensure that no Ghanaian is left behind. Social justice is not just a legal obligation, but a moral duty that defines the character and fairness be foundation of our development. I am grateful for the opportunity, Right Honorable Speaker. Thank you.
I will 93.5. So, Honourable Member, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The threat who was made by a priest, and the question to the girl was, are you a Christian, a Muslim? Poverty knows no religion. Poverty knows no political or party affiliation. It is in this vein, respectfully, that I commend the makers of this statement, drawing our attention that with a collective effort, as a people, we would all have to stand up against social injustices. Respectfully, Mr. Speaker, if we talk about fairness, not discriminating against any person because the person is either black, white, of any religious affiliation. Respectfully, justice is giving fair treatment to every person. If you look at the framers of our Constitution, looking at Chapter 5 and Chapter 6 of our Constitution, it is all meant to ensure that human, Mr. Speaker, not discriminating against persons. We are looking at access to basic education. We are looking at, I want to commend respectfully to ensure that we protect as a people. Respectfully, when the minority leader raised the issue of cholera, he informed the House about the strides he is making to ensure that his people are advised and support people as to how to go about making sure that sanitation is right. We same experience in my constituency, Kwesimintim constituency, when many people, about 8 of the people died. But for the swift attention of the doctors and the medical caregivers over there, you would have lost more. But I went down, we educated the people that wash your hands. Make sure that you eat food that is hot. Make sure, don't you advise my honorable minority leader, the rights, it is about cleanliness. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to contribute to the statement made by others. But Mr. Speaker, thank you very much.
The Speaker, I want to commend for social justice. And if you look at the theme for the day, empowering inclusion, bridging gaps for social inclusive policies and social protections in address. At the heart of this celebration are issues related to employment. Unemployment, if you have witnessed or you've lived through unemployment before, you'd realize, Speaker, the theme, bridging the gap for social justice, brings to bear an issue that is currently ongoing in our country. I've been asked to go home administration. Mr. Speaker, 17, government, I was being denied access to work. So, Mr. Speaker, today, these young men and women who have been laid off have been asked to go home. Sometimes I wonder, are they going to go through the very situation that I went through in 2017? That today, the very reasons why we celebrate this remarkable day, which seems to be widening the very gaps we should be closing. Mr. Speaker, that is why I joined the minority leaders at the era of tit for tat. The era of this is MPP's government, so we are going to work with MPP members. This is NDC government, so we are going to work with NDC members. Has to come to an end through social justice. So that in the spirit of resetting Ghana, today they have been asked to go home. And we wonder, as they go to sit in their various homes, what really are they going to eat? How men and women to go home? Mr. Speaker, when it happened under the MPP, it was wrong. And it's important to make the point very clear.
Honorable Majority
This time,
Chief Whip, are you of order?
Speaker, I rise pursuant to Order 1221A and react in respect of that his comments are not supposed to degenerate from a colleague degenerated into a debate. And you ruled that this matter of termination of employment and all that it became it attracted relevant comments from members. And it was himself plus the rules, Mr. Speaker, that he should take. That is a beaten path. He should depart from it. I thank you for the opportunity.
Honorable Member, I think I've listened to the member with rapt attention. Honorable members, the statement on the floor is about social justice. And social justice is irrespective of the political party that you belong to. And the honorable member, in making his submission, indicated clearly what he suffered in 2017. And honorable members, I do not think debate. So, honorable member, honorable majority, Chief Whip, I beg to differ. Honorable member, proceed and conclude.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. And my plea on this day, that as we reflect on the day, there's the need to ensure fairness. There's the need, part of it is how people get to, for want of a word, chop. How their families are able to survive. And that is why I will not generate a debate. In fact, I use my case as an example. And the difficulty, and it should not be proper tomorrow. In fact, one of these young ladies who have been laid off in one of the agencies called me 3 days today. On TikTok, she was very active, campaigning for His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. Most of these people who have been laid off, most of these people who have been laid off, we do not even know their political affiliation. And so on this day, Mr. Speaker, on this day, I appeal to the President. I appeal to the President. I appeal to the Chief of Staff that in the spirit of social inclusion, they should revise their stance on this mass dismissal. It will not help Ghana. It continues to set as a very bad precedent, and it's important that as a people we come to the realization that tit for tat has no way. I mean, it will not help anybody, and we need to change our ways.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. Your time is up.
Are gainfully employed.
Honorable Suleiman.
Mr. Speaker, I'm very grateful for the opportunity of these statements. The World Day of Social Justice, with a theme empowering inclusion, bridging gaps for social justice. What an important about. We are talking about equal rights. We are talking about equal opportunity. We are calling about, the issues to look out for here, among others, include racial injustice. Why should somebody's color deny him some opportunities? These are the issues. Gender injustice. Why should somebody's gender be a hindrance to the person's development and progress? And so this subject is a subject that should bother all of us. It's a subject, Mr. Speaker, we are talking about disability injustice. Look at some of our buildings. When somebody is incapacitated, when somebody is suffering some kind of disability, even having access to some offices becomes a problem. These are the things that we should avert our minds to. Mr. Speaker, very soon in this House, we need to interrogate the budget, and we need to look at the pro-poor programs in the budget. Let us look at those pro-poor programs and see how these programs will better the lives of the people. It takes two sides, some development, some progress in the lives of our people. Mr. Speaker, we are talking about bridging the gap between the poor and the rich. Mr. Speaker, we should be interested in economic status. And when we do that, we will not even be interested in rolling out gifts, in rolling out grants to them. What we need to do is to create an environment where we can give support to these SMEs so that they can stand on their own. Mr. Speaker, let us be known to all of us here that we have passed a law that in fighting these social injustices. Mr. Speaker, let me call on our religious organizations and our religious bodies to show interest in helping us fight this canker. All of us here attend mosques, we attend churches, and in doing so, Mr. Speaker, we will be making headway in the fight against injustice. Yes, so he's saying that I should call him my brother, and I call you OPK. Yes. I remember very well that you complained to me that you had this kind of experience. Very unfortunate. And I do agree with you that we must correct the wrongs. we must all agree to correct the wrongs. And the laws allow us, the laws are clear. The law says that if you want to recruit, you advertise. If you advertise, that is social justice. You are giving equality to everybody. If you don't advertise, you are denying some people access. That is injustice. So if you don't advertise, and some people are recruited, and somebody draws your attention that because you have not advertised, you have infringed upon the rights of others, and that the right thing is done, that is not wrong. That is not tit for tat. That is correcting the wrong. And so if you have a situation, police service, immigration service, and what have you, no any advertisements for several years. And let's correct these issues and move ahead. But I do agree with you that we cannot continue on that path. With this, I want to thank the makers once again, and to thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank all those who have contributed to this statement. And let me thank my minority leader.
Thank you.
This opportunity. Mr. Speaker, I want to commend the maker of the statement. Mr. Speaker, the issue of social justice, given our diversity, religious diversity, tribal diversity, Mr. Speaker, and so on and so forth. So when we swear very respectfully to pursue the group of people who find themselves in this statement, in as much as is true in terms of the globe in general, it is so true with the Republic of Ghana. Or a concerted effort so that, very respectfully, regardless of where you come from, regardless of the religious group you belong to, you were not discriminated against. It does appear that with the advent of multi-party democracy, partisanship seems to have taken the front burner. And in our day-to-day lives, Mr. Speaker, respectfully, you complain. The response is that it happened during our time, and so it is good that it is also happening today. Very soon, Mr. Speaker, our people are going to gang up against us. The truth of the matter is that the opportunities available to people in this country, Mr. Speaker, is not the volume of it. And so the only way that, Mr. Speaker, society where people will qualify because they are competent, a society where people will qualify not because they belong to a certain tribe, not because they go to a certain church, not because they belong to a certain political party. Mr. Speaker, increasingly our people are taking refuge in collecting certificates because they cannot see their way clear in this country. That is the truth. They get one master's degree, tomorrow they chase another master's degree, tomorrow they are chasing another master's degree because they can't see their way clear. They sit in organizations, Mr. Speaker, and they don't know whether they can rise to the positions of chief executive, to the positions of directors, simply because they don't belong to one political party or the other. Increasingly, we are building a society that is governed by incompetence rather than competence. Party cards have become certificates of qualification. This is what today this statement should call upon us to eschew, because we are sinking as a country as a result of that practice. We need to change. Irrespective of where we belong to, we must begin to create opportunities to our people based on merit. Based on merit. Mr. Speaker, let's start from you. We need to change. Sinned an eye for an of partisanship. So, Mr. Speaker, you are happy, don't worry. We need to begin to evaluate. We need to begin to evaluate our society and make amends from the judiciary, from our state-owned agencies, everywhere, Mr. Speaker. Let's begin to review what we have done in the past and make sure we chart a new course so that increasingly, Mr. Speaker, people will have hope that when they go to school, when they work hard, there is hope that one day they can become chief executives of our state-owned institutions without belonging to any political party. Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker, for the opportunity. Mr. Speaker, at the very moment that we are contributing to this statement, there is a child somewhere in one community who is wondering where the next meal will come from, while another child somewhere in a city has taken breakfast, taken lunch, and has added snack. Mr. Speaker, as we talk, there's a mother, a pregnant mother somewhere in Tuhe, while in another health facility, in another hospital, there are a number of doctors, specialists, midwives who probably are relaxing, waiting for a client to come. Mr. Speaker, junior high 3 in Ghana, there are children, while in another part of this country, there are a lot of teachers in the same class teaching students for them to write the same exams. Injustice. The issue of social justice has nothing to do with which party you belong to and whether it's equalization. It's about addressing inequalities. It is about ensuring that there are equal opportunities, that every child everywhere has a right to basic quality education, that a patient everywhere in this country has a right to quality health care. Mr. Speaker, these are the issues that confront has a right, equal opportunities, and equal treatment. And our Constitution, in Chapter 6, has given us the foundation to address these issues of social injustice. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, as we contribute, as we debate, let's see how we bridge the gap of social injustice, and the poor is getting poorer. How do we bridge this gap? Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Honourable Member. Yes, Honourable, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for justice. I will add my voice to my colleagues here. Honourable spoke about the fact of other colleague was speaking. He also spoke about a child that was being asked a question. Equally shows that injustice affects mostly the women. When you read through the statement was relevant and timely because, Mr. Speaker, it spoke about fairness, inclusion, and equity in Ghana. It equally spoke about the historical background and context in relation to the Berlin Conference and also that of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. So it tells us the past and the present and the ongoing that we need to forge on to make sure that injustice put to stop. Again, there was a clear identity and human rights violation and other assets that denies us this opportunity. It clearly also came about with a policy proposal and government commitment that indicated the 24-hour economy and the rest. Mr. Speaker, it's very important for us to look at some areas that we need to improve. Many of the honorable members spoke about partisan. We should be very objective and have much objective concerns when issues like this are being brought up for discussions. And again, I would like to add up some areas of consideration in relation to this day of celebration in the year 2023, when there was an arrest of as my honorable member Ewutu Senya mentioned, the Democracy Hub protected against the government. 2019, reference of the arrest in concern and contest again with Ahmed Swali. These as nation also come in context of the press freedom. Mr. Speaker, in Africa and Ghana inclusive, Mr. Speaker, you would find out some rural areas, out of 5, one of not looking far from ourselves in Parliament here, women representative in Parliament is poor. We have looked at reference of the Rwanda Parliament. We have over 53-54% of women. No wonder there is growth in the economy. And if we need to encourage ourselves and looking for the benefits and the betterment of the country, we should be very deliberate in helping and securing, helping leadership and encouraging women in leadership. Again, with the gender issues and human rights, the DOSU, that is domestic violence, DOSU annually reports of thousands of these issues. And it's something we need to pay much attention to. Trying to conclude, Mr. Speaker, access to health care and education, incomers. And that is one thing we need to look at and make sure that we try to help ourselves within that policy, the growth of the economy. And as I end, Mr. Speaker, housing and land issues. We look at the rent even in Accra. We look at the land issues even in Kaswa. Land litigation everywhere. Matters of these and such discrimination of the marginalized people so that we can get access for them, people in disability. I think with this and many more, we would have a better position when it comes to social justice. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Member. Honorable Member, you have the floor. You have the floor. Honorable Member, if you don't intend to comment, why are you on your feet to catch the eye of the Speaker?
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, may I have... Mr. Speaker,
yes,
may I proceed? Right, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members, order. Honorable members, take it clearly. When you want to contribute, then you get on your feet. Then you said you want to yield to another member. To comment on the statement, you must not be on your feet.
Right,
Honorable members, democracy must be guided. Honorable member, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for allowing me to speak on this issue of social justice. Mr. Speaker, Ghana, like most countries, faces a lot of systemic injustice. Mr. Speaker, I'd like per the Disability Act 217 of 2006 and Article 29 of the 19th, education, employment, and housing, and also accessibility to public transport and public buildings. Mr. Speaker, as we can tell today, in Ghana, disabled persons face a lot of systemic inequalities. Many buildings and services remain inaccessible to disabled persons. When you look at public transportation...
members on their feet, kindly resume your seat.
When we look at transportation, disabled persons don't have equal access to transportation. When you come to Isikado Ketan constituency and you go to Kojo Krom, Kansarodo, or in Tankofer, disabled persons don't have equal access to public transportation. Mr. Speaker, I recommend that we look into accessibility of public transport and specifically public housing for our disabled persons. Fellow honorables, for bringing up this very important issue to the fore, and I hope that we will take a very good look at social justice for all Ghanaians. Thank you again.
Thank you, Honorable.
Thank you. Thank you. Let me commend the makers of the statement for bringing this statement to bear, or this subject matter to bear. Mr. Speaker, this is a topic that requires attention and action, and it will interest all of us to know that the Constitution and other laws alike, especially other international instruments, guarantees this right to us as a people. But historically, most people have suffered social injustice, not because they do not have the protective right, but because we politicians ourselves, over the period, have become culprits and victims of this social injustice. Mr. Speaker, today, last week, a simple request for procedural fairness from the minority leader on behalf of a former, we keep doing this to ourselves. Because today it is me, tomorrow it could be you. And as we keep arguing along the way, I ask myself that to ourselves, why can't we already on other things that politicians keep giving to people? It's also Honorable Dr. Kumbo, who had said, previously or next, for you to die. That is when you know that we need to begin to advocate for fairness and equal opportunity and access for people. Mr. Speaker, just this morning, I was asked by a journalist within this precinct of Parliament that he wants to know that are we waiting, or for how long will we wait until when a president wins an election in this country and the opponent goes to deny that person that right that is due him? Mr. Speaker, in order not to sound prejudicial, I want all of us to take
Order. Order. Honourable members, order.
Mr. Speaker, I want all of us to take note that this discussion that we are having here should not be one that we are just having it today and let it slide. It should bring to fore meaningful thought and discussion, and especially to me as
Honourable members, order. Honourable members, order. Honourable members, you need not be on your feet before you say here, here. You can do so while sitting.
Today appears to be what it means is that this where you have first timers and some senior members making a statement and hearing contributions. Mr. Speaker, before I get into my own contributions, I want to remind colleagues that when it means you can't stand on your waist. No, you need to stand. Whether a lady or gentleman, stand firm, stand very firm and upright.
Honourable Minority Leader, the statement before us is on social justice.
That is true, Mr. Speaker. A good health will come. Thank you very much. Mr. Speaker, the honourable members who made this statement, number of issues I would want to as though same were coming from me and rely on all of them for records. Except to say that, Mr. Speaker, I don't want this House to be drawn into the Palestinian-Israeli issues in drawing that for the reason that his statement was well intended. The way it came up, it created a certain impression. And I just want the records to reflect that this House is not taking sides in that conflict. We only pray that there will be justice for all in that enclave. So, Speaker, each day in my prayer, I pray for peace in the Middle East, guided by St. Francis of Assisi's prayer. I, being a Catholic, I always rely on that important prayer by St. Francis, where he calls for is that wherever there is injustice, the discussions that will lead of the statement, the respected member Nakoyo Kuno of Awutu Senya. Mr. Speaker, we need to take steps as a people to address the way we do politics in this country. Some of us don't tell our facts and all. But that party to go next. For how long should that continue? Experience in Winneba in 2012. It took the law's intervention for me to be here. Somebody that he couldn't shoot. I don't know the mystery and the miracle behind it. Close range. People are suffering injustice. Sometimes even our judiciary. I know that when there is an application pending before a court of justice will always deal with that interrogatory matter before coming to the substantive matter and ensure that there is fairness. For my years of practice, I know that when there is an application before a superior court, below would at least and determine before dealing with the matter before him, all in the interest of fairness and justice. Are we experiencing that in all situations? I beg to say that no. So, Mr. Speaker, if we are calling for a fair society, then it shouldn't be.
Honorable Minority Leader.
Yes, sir.
With all due respect, that is not automatic. Looking at the practice and procedure in CI 47, you have a right to put in an application for stay of proceedings pending the determination of the matter at the court above.
Rightly so, Mr. Speaker. Not to disagree with you, but the example that I'm citing also has in it an application for stay of proceedings. An application for stay of proceedings. And should move his main application and goes ahead to determine the matter when there is an application for stay of proceedings pending. Make this point. Front bench. It's very regrettable because some people may see my views as being too rich. Repeat that vicious cycle of you did it to me, I will do it to you. Mr. Speaker, yesterday I said something in an interview that sometimes the political class forgets to develop the nation and not to go after lessons from this. I recall when Kufuor won, we had comments on the streets of Accra. I was a young student then, that, oh, NDC, Omumbebio, NDC party negu. But 8 years down the line, NDC was back. When we had 169, similar comments. And we know the story today. So I am saying that some of the injustices that Ghanaians experience because of political affiliation must end. And I am not here to pick and choose. Mr. Speaker, Professor Mills of blessed memory made an effort on this imbalance, and I'm into transport business, and I had a lot of trucks plying Awasu to Takrade, and I was a known MPP person. And when the of the company was close to the government of the day, he tells me that he managed to inform the then president, right, for the country, that somebody has gone to take a loan to buy trucks doing his business, and because he's an MPP, they should stop his business. Mr. Speaker, that effort was made. I remember, and I'll state it for public record, to do their work to help with justice and fairness in society. We, the voices of reason, must prevail. Mr. Speaker, for change community. Sometimes I look at some businesses are attacked, MPP, NDC, but you have these foreign entities owned by Indians, Israelis. Syria is MPP or NDC, and they are foreigners. When they make their profit, they move their money out. When the Ghanaian makes, Mr. Speaker, my respected member must learn to be quiet.
Honorable member for Kwesiminti.
He's gaining notoriety for this. Stop it. And he wears sunglasses in this chamber. That was not part of the...
Let your conduct be orderly.
So, Mr. Speaker, businessmen, local businessmen, are always in fear. Their businesses are always being a target of injustice, political attacks, whereas foreign businesses, Mr. Speaker, you find their embassies moving to promote their businesses, and our local businesses will be suffering. Why should there be a society like this? Mr. Rights, and I dare emphasize that these are far rights. Economic rights are far rights. You stand an equal chance of being considered is a far right. We have heard comments by some political leaders on our side, and we'll be very honest with the facts here. For proper steps tomorrow, we need to speak to the issue. But, Mr. Speaker, the issue about Honorable Osafo Maafo that people refer to, I must say that indeed, when he made those statements, nothing of the sort happened. And I would want members who have contrary views to make those available. At least the mass dismissals we are experiencing.
Honorable Minority Leader,
was
at your back
to enforce.
Yes.
So I yield to you. What is your pleasure, Mr.
Rightly so, Mr. Speaker. Point of information, Mr. Speaker, on Standing Order 93.5, whether it's still being enforced. That's all I want to know from you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable member, strictly being enforced.
So, Mr. Speaker, in the said situation, we didn't see the mass dismissal we are seeing today. But, Mr. Speaker, granted that it even happened ourselves, Mr. Speaker, as a country, requires that all of us, especially those who are moving from left of center, be loud in their... It's not far from...
Honorable Minority Leader, you know the rules that you have to address the chair.
Very well, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, granted that even yesterday it happened, and I did not see reason to address it. It does not stop me from addressing today, all for the good of our collective tomorrow. Mr. Speaker, Dr. Sandari made a contribution and talked about healthcare. Mr. Speaker, we stay in Accra and we think Accra has everything and Ghana is a happy home. Mr. Speaker, it's not. The poverty out there, Mr. Speaker, madhouse. After visiting Chairman, I went poverty. My own constituency, there are places that you see poverty. What he said is true. Today, people, though there is health insurance, because they cannot afford, they die and they attribute it to some other causes and they bury them quietly. This is not the promises that are enshrined in the Constitution. The promises that are enshrined in the Constitution include equal opportunity, justice, fairness, promises. It is a Ghanaian dream, a dream that the forebearers envisaged, and out is a commemorative day for social justice. This country must take it serious. A member for Awutu Senya East, where once upon a time I was a presiding member, has told us in clear terms that is ready to put in place some policies to address these concerns. And in fact, Mr. Speaker, what she has said, and for and on behalf of government, and when it comes to accountability, we are going to associate through Honorable Koyo veritable words. And you've given assurances that this government is going to ensure that certain steps are taken in addressing social injustice. We look forward to that. Mr. Speaker, without more contributors, especially the determination, both sides, seeing their CVs, and when they're on their feet, it's as though they've done 2 terms or 3 terms in the conference, and be filing more questions, your party. And let us hold the feet of government to the fire, not in the negative sense, but in the positive sense, all for the good of the people. Mr. Speaker, without more, let me thank you for this treasure space.
You have the floor.
Speaker, what else can I say on the joint statements? Joint because, Speaker, one from the minority side, 2 from our side, in commemoration of today. Speaker, the United Nations is such an important concept, and Speaker, it means the opportunity to have equal rights, economic, political, religious, cultural, and the law. Speaker, it therefore becomes a barometer by which every government or every nation's governance structure and systems are measured. And leaving the generals to the specifics, of course we will measure our governance structure back home by invariance with social justice. My residential home under construction, it was pulled down by operating no court process. Somebody just said it. Speaker, my own uncle, the Venerable Hodari Okan, Ghana Immigration Service, and he proceeded to court. He obtained judgment. It took so long for the judgment there to be paid to him. That was no social justice. It was not. Mr. Speaker, there are members on this side Just a couple of months ago, we were here. Their whole law. That was no social justice. Justice must resonate in everything that we do as a people and as a state. Exactly 8 years ago, 2017, appointment of 8,630 recruited into the health service without recourse to even the time of recruitment. I have the letter, I can show it to you. 10 February 2017. That was no social justice. It was not. As we speak, those consequent upon those employment that were suspended, they are sitting at home. They are grieving. Minority, hear your high heaven cries. In 2017, you were a formidable member of this house. So, zone where we must do the appropriate things.
Honorable Minority Leader, don't engage the member on the floor.
Mr. Speaker, indeed, in April 2017, recruits that were who had started, they were asked to go home. Mr. Speaker, let me take the House a bit back into time. In 2001, the most common 2001, many public servants who had served within the public service, some for 20 years prior, 10 years prior, 15 years prior, without recourse to lay down procedure. That was no social justice. That was no social justice.
Honourable members, order.
So, Mr. Speaker, I believe that today is have recourse to standards, basic requirements, procedures, so that when Ghanaians of all shades and are qualified, without any recourse to, Mr. Speaker, I shudder to say it, but to political consideration. I am very happy that my brother touched on the issue of judicial tardiness in terms of matters before the court. When a matter is before the court, the same alacrity, zeal, speed that is brought to bear in dealing with all other matters must be exercised in commemoration of that. But, Speaker, I believe that I'll urge you to, in closing this matter, be guided by it. That is what ensures fairness. And not because of the length of my name, for instance, which some playing field speaks impeccable Ewe, because he grew up among Ewes and attended Bishop Herman. And I got the opportunity to join him, and today we are here. That we have enjoyed and it's benefited us. We are like two cockerels. That's to the core. We may have our political standards. By all means, recruits that will be guided for the opportunity. And I thank the makers. This is a major reminder to all of us that we must always think of the people and do what will be of social benefit, socio-economic, political, cultural benefit to them. So whatever social intervention programs that I thank you for the opportunity and I thank the makers. Thank you.
Thank you very much to mark the World Social Justice Day. Honourable members, social justice is the view that everyone deserves equal economic, political, and social rights for national development, peace, and stability. It is about ensuring that everybody, regardless of discrimination. Honourable members, it is said that justice must not only be done, but it must manifestedly and undoubtedly be seen to be done. It is therefore the response social justice prevail. Tahir Mahama, Doctor, MP for Wale Wale constituency, on curfew of residents.
Is here.
Very well. Honourable Member.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, I am extremely grateful for the opportunity to make this statement on lives that are out of and its environs, but to the families of the several innocent lives, people of Wale Wale and its environs are now living in pain, apprehension, and fear. Mr. Speaker, it is a notorious which passes through Wale Wale is now a Pulmankum road. Our maim and kill innocent people and travelers. Mr. Speaker, there is a near-perfect correlation between the attacks on the Bolga Boku Pulmango road and the Tamale Wale Wale and the Bolgatanga Wale Wale Tamale road. We must not mince words in condemning these attacks. We did, and the recent event, the 14th January 2025.
The chair.
Yes, Dr. Mahama, you may continue.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Recent development in Wale Wale. Mr. Speaker, the reactionary vehicle caught fire. The military at a popular NDC base is understandable. The professionalism required of them was betrayed. They were utterly careless, and a minute of due diligence could have saved the situation. Mr. Speaker, even though the military later on apologized for the unfortunate incident, the encouragement of civilian space by the military is a recipe for disaster if it is not curtailed. Mr. Speaker, around Wulugu on the Bolga Wale Wale route, on the 12th February 2025 in the Wale Wale Township, and the most recent occurred on the 14th February 2025. As I stated, the reaction beat up anyone on site on the main highway of Kukwa, Logri, Wale Wale, Dimsi, and Wulugu. All communities along the highway were mercilessly beaten of the military perpetrators brought to book. A curfew on Wale Wale and its environs, a community that is relatively peaceful, conflict in Wale Wale or its environs. There is no factional war or fight within the constituency without which it would escalate. It does not make sense to punish residents in those communities because most of them are just victims. The daytime, outside the curfew hours. Mr. Speaker, I now make some proposal to ensuring peace and stability. Principle that matter. Process. Government leaves the king. The government should consider one in the affected roads. Yes, but this has the police perpetrators should enhance a call for the investigation be carried out to delve into the death of 2 persons in the last 2 weeks in the hands of the security. This the attack and murder of innocent travelers through Bolgatanga Wale Wale Tamale route. Mr. Speaker, thank you once again for the opportunity to make this statement, and I will kindly urge on you to consider this application as duly submitted. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Let me be frank with you. This particular statement went through a lot of discussion before its admittance in the comments. So the statement has been made, it has been captured, but I will only restrict it to
and engage extensively to come to some very matter. And I am happy that Parliament has found space for it to be entertained. We've read reports of excesses, some excess action staged on the part of the military, sex action staged on the part of the military and some security would have to up mentioned more responsibly on this. The matter doesn't get out of hand. The matter is controlled to a good conclusion. I have a lot of confidence in our minister, our own colleague, the Honorable Mun. Quite unfortunate, we don't have our committee on. So in the absence of that, what do we do so that we can still navigate properly and be security conscious and doesn't rest on it us? We need to go in. We are the representative of the people, regardless of the fact that we have security experts in these matters. We must also bring our experience to bear and help the security outfit to navigate properly. To that end, I would wish to suggest that Speaker, you give some consequential until something is done. It may degenerate, and we may come back to talk about this same matter and lament about it. So probably we can have a close sitting, mention in same matter. It is minister and the defense minister. It should not just be one-off. We have to do, there should be a regular brief. It's unfortunate, the needless loss of lives in these areas, and then the maker of the statement gives a certain background which comes to support his conclusion that the imposition of curfew at Wale Wale judgment, he is a member of parliament from the area. I think we should, Speaker, as a matter of urgency, program the defense minister and the interior minister to appear before this house and for us to get some briefing input to help navigate the situation. We cannot wait until it gets out of hand. And we can only thank God that the matter hasn't degenerated so badly. But it's urgent that if we don't do anything about it, more life it has as a country. So Speaker, we get the 2 minutes because of the subject matter at a close sitting for us.
Thank you very much, Majority Leadership.
Speaker, let me seek your leave to defer to the Honorable Tobu on this matter. I thank you.
Take into consideration the earlier caution. So the floor is yours now.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. And let me thank leadership for yielding to me to make very important comments as I feel very strongly about the statement that has just been delivered by my brother, the Honorable MP for Wale Wale, Dr. Kabiru. Mr. Speaker, as to whether the issue of conflict, we will leave that one to the security agencies to investigate. But come what may, the loss of every single life in this country on matters of conflict is so needless, to say the least. The issue between Wale, he's made some important recommendations that the police intelligence department should be doing better by deploying more. He also requested that the curfew that is imposed should be looked at very carefully. Whatever it is, Mr. Speaker, as cautious as we want to be, Plato had it right when he said the greatest form of injustice is pretended justice. When we know what is right, and we all close our eyes to the truth, and go around talking over years about what the problem is, and not willing to nip it in the bud, these are some of the things that will happen. For them to give us updates now gradually becoming recommend that apart from the defense minister, the chairman of the Upper East Regional Security Council to come and brief this house. What is actually going on? How can we come together as a nation to ensure that this matter is nipped in the bud? Pretended justice is the greatest form of injustice. And as cautious as I am, Mr. Speaker, I want to draw the curtains here, and I'm so grateful for the opportunity. Thank you so much.
That we invite the Minister for Interior and that of defense. I will leave it with the business committee to brief us. I know next week the President of the Republic will be here.
Speaker, just for, okay, because
Scheduled to have them in close sitting, we will do that. So I'll leave it with the business committee, but me and even that of defense. See, some of these things at times is we handle it personally as you are actually responsible for them, while we invite them to come and brief.
We're trying to help you to navigate that. It is constituencies, just one of the constituencies affected on the subject matter. I would have wished, I'm aware, if you find
well, I wouldn't mind doing that, but yes.
Speaker, the business committee met today and has planned for next week already. But this coming under statement relates this matter to the convenience. So once they confirm that, then we can accommodate them anytime next week when that is convenient for them. So my brother, so when both of them can.
I in total has been that we often give them dates where they have difficulty. The ministers, they get back to us. They get back to us saying that
they should appear tomorrow, Friday, because of the urgent nature of the matter. But I want to avoid that one. We are bringing both of them next week.
It's not a good practice when we as Parliament...
Honorable, schedule a minister who probably might have also done his own schedules somewhere, and therefore you will be expecting them to its lowest level and see if you can get back to us tomorrow, so that tomorrow...
Indeed, Mr. Speaker, we'll do that. Matter will be properly clarified.
The executive must respect the chief team, and we are helping you to be respected. Have time? No. Chief will give them support you to succeed. You are the chief whip.
Speaker. Speaker, I agree with my brother. So we'll convey the strong sentiments of the House. Speaker, briefing is why it's grand business statement that I've conferred with them. Both of them have put their heads together and they will appear on so and so day. So that is settled. Speaker, relatedly, the honorable member for Nkwanta South also presented a statement. It will be referred to a committee for them to look into it. The referral wasn't done. So we are praying that if that can be consequential,
very well,
in respect of Nkwanta South. Also,
today, honorable leadership.
Speaker, thank you. Speaker, in the absence of any
minority leadership,
turn to second, but for some good reason,
movement has been seconded. The question is, all those in favor that today's sitting be adjourned to tomorrow 10 o'clock in the forenoon, say aye. The ayes have it. The motion is adopted, and the House is accordingly adjourned to